Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory here with your 2:30 weather show. This is a live look at the Owensboro riverfront with the Blue Bridge off in the distance there. We do have a few fair weather clouds dotting the skies, but lots of blue sky and sunshine breaking through as well. Today has nice low humidity. Temperatures are going to top out in the mid to upper 80s this afternoon. Tomorrow may be a little warmer, but other than that, it's a lot like today. Mostly sunny, nice low humidity. Then the heat really starts to ramp up by Sunday with temperatures climbing into the low to mid 90s. And that is just the beginning of a heat wave that's going to be with us basically for all of next week, with highs in the mid to even upper 90s as the week goes on. So enjoy this beautiful weather and low humidity while we've got it. Here's a live look at satellite and radar. All those white spots you see there are clouds just kind of dotting the sky, but none of them are producing any rain, and plenty of sunshine is still breaking through. Our temperatures under these mostly sunny skies are climbing into the mid to upper 80s. It's 88 in Greenville, Madisonville, and Mount Vernon. Evansville and Henderson at 85, Owensboro at 86. Our dew points are sitting in the low to mid 60s in most locations. Owensboro and Evansville both have a dew point of 64 degrees right now, which means it is a little bit humid out there, but all in all very tolerable. Oftentimes this time of year, you would get up into that just stifling kind of thick air you can wear humidity. That's not been the case. This whole week, our humidity has really been pretty pleasant. And even today, while it's a little humid out there, it's very, very tolerable. So we've got great weather set up for the rest of this afternoon and this evening too. If you're headed out to a Friday night football game, like I said, we're topping out in the mid to upper 80s this afternoon. We're going to start to fall back into the lower 80s by the time those games are kicking off. Then we'll make our way back through the 70s as the games go on under clear skies. Once the sun sets, we'll start to cool down pretty quickly. Still not exactly sweatshirt weather. You'll have to wait until a little later in football season for that, but it should be really nice and comfortable out there for those games. Overnight, clear, seasonably cool with lows in the low to mid 60s. Then tomorrow, a little on the hot side, upper 80s, maybe even around 90, but it won't be humid, so there's no heat index to worry about. And it will be mostly sunny with just a few clouds as we get into the afternoon. Now, I mentioned Sunday, that's when the heat really starts to kick into high gear. We've got mid to even upper 90s then from Sunday all the way through the rest of the work week. The good news is the humidity does not look as bad as the last heat wave. You may remember earlier in August, we had that stretch of days with highs in the low to mid 90s, but it was so humid. I mean, just unbelievably humid. The air was thick, almost hard to breathe in kind of humidity, and that made it feel much, much hotter than it actually was. Humidity will definitely still play a role here, but it will not be as extreme. Notice the humidity still very tolerable into this weekend, especially tomorrow, but even Sunday doesn't look too bad. It does gradually increase though as we get into next week, and especially by the middle of the week. It does seem like it'll be pretty muggy out there. But last heat wave, we were maxing this thing out. I mean, we were way at the top of stifling, so it won't be quite that extremely humid. But with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, even a little bit of humidity still has a big impact, and it's still going to feel like we're in the triple digits. So like I said, tomorrow, no heat index to worry about. We'll top out upper 80s to around 90. That's exactly how it'll feel. We're not concerned about heat-related illnesses tomorrow. By Sunday, though, actual temperatures start to break into the low to mid 90s. Heat index just a few degrees warmer than the actual temperature, mid to upper 90s for your heat index there. And we do start to see just a level 2 out of 4 risk for some heat related illnesses starting to creep in. But then as the week goes on, that risk continues to increase as the heat really builds in. By Monday, notice we start to see those triple digits creep back in. Heat index will probably peak somewhere in the upper 90s to low triple digits Monday afternoon, and we start to see more of a major risk of heat illness there, and that continues then into Tuesday with a heat index remaining in the low triple digits. By Wednesday and Thursday, I know Thursday's not on the map here, but I'm just imagining with me here, Wednesday and Thursday both, we start to get more into that extreme risk as our heat index could start to approach that danger zone of 105 or higher. I'm not convinced that we'll actually see a heat index of 105 or higher. I certainly don't think it'll be widespread through the entire week, but still that many days with that kind of heat. Heat is kind of a compounding problem. Every day you have to deal with that heat, the harder it is to maintain cool spaces, like, you know, keep your house air conditioned, and the harder it is on your body to deal with that heat day after day after day without any relief. If you need to get out and mow your grass, I would really encourage you to do it today or tomorrow. Those look like the best days. Even Sunday, though, the humidity still not too bad. By Monday, while it will be sunny, you don't have any rain to worry about. I would say if you're going to mow your grass, try not to do it in the middle of the afternoon, the hottest part of the day. That's when we're going to start dealing with those triple-digit heat index values. Then it is just, I mean, miserably hot from Tuesday through the end of the week there, with highs possibly climbing even into the upper 90s. So like I said, even though the humidity will not be as bad as it was last time around, it is still going to be very hot, and especially keeping that up for this many days, that does start to wear on you. And so we could start to see some concern for things like heat exhaustion or even heat stroke by the middle and end of next week. Let's check in on the comments real quick. Good afternoon, Laura from Dawson Springs, and Zach is asking about rain chances. I want to point that out for you, Zach, because notice I doubt we'll see even a drop of rain through at least the first couple days of next week. Even beyond that, it's very, very isolated. I think there's a really good chance most of the tri-state stays completely dry all the way through the end of next week. I would not totally rule out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as it's going to be a little more humid in the afternoon, kind of like what we saw today. You get into the warmest part of the day and those clouds start to bubble up. When there's a little more moisture in the atmosphere to work with, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a stray shower pop up in the afternoon Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but all 3 days look mostly dry. So I'm really not concerned about storms through the whole next 7 days. The focus moving forward is really on the heat, because it is going to heat up and then just stay hot all the way through next week, and maybe even into Labor Day weekend too. I do have some good news on this front, and that is we finally got a high temperature reading yesterday. We've been getting data consistently from the Evansville Regional Airport yesterday and today, so it seems like they finally got things fixed there. For those of you who have been kind of watching regularly, you know, for all of last week and most of this week, we have not had any kind of consistent weather data from the Evansville Regional Airport, which is where the official records for the tri-state are kept. That weather I just totally blanked on the word, thermometer and rain gauge. Thermometer is a pretty important word for a meteorologist. Thermometer and rain gauge went down, and then they had to order parts, and then it was the wrong part. They had to order another part. It's been a whole saga, but it does seem like their engineers finally got things fixed up there. So we officially had a high of 88 degrees yesterday. We are still missing a lot of data from the past couple of weeks, and even though this isn't showing it, we do know we got some rain on the 19th and 20th. We've gotten that rain total information from another rain gauge nearby, and so in total, we do know that we had 3.9 inches of rain in Evansville so far this month, which is a little more than an inch above average. We're still running a couple inches short on the year. But given how dry our spring was and how intense the drought got earlier this year, that is really not too bad. We have come a long way. This is the one that I'm not convinced is totally accurate. We've got an average temperature of 80.7 degrees for the month, which is 3 degrees warmer than normal. But you have to keep in mind that thermometer broke at the end of the last heat wave. So the past 2 weeks, when we've had a break from that heat, we haven't gotten consistent temperature data. So I'm not sure that that's totally accurate, but it's the only number we've got to work with right now. Moving forward, the end of the month is going to be hot, and certainly the beginning of September will be too, as we've got temperatures trending into the mid to even upper 90s from Sunday at least through Friday, and probably beyond that too. If you look at the extended outlook, so this is from Saturday, September 5th, up through the 11th. So we're looking at Labor Day weekend and the days following Labor Day, that following work week as well. looking at all of that, the general trend is that we may see a little bit of rain, but especially as you head farther west, the general trend does show below average precipitation. It does seem like a drier weather pattern in general is setting up for much of our region, but it is going to stay hot. We also have a trend toward above average temperatures, and specifically when you look at the hazards outlook, notice this large area highlighted in red here. That area is at risk of extreme heat all the way up through Saturday, September 5th and Sunday, September 6th as well. So we see this heat starting to push in this Sunday with temperatures into the mid 90s. Then it just gets hotter and more humid as the week goes on, with a triple-digit heat index possible as early as Monday. And then that heat really seems to hit its stride as we get into Wednesday and Thursday and even into Friday. But the trend seems to be that this potentially dangerous heat is going to stick with us all the way into the weekend, next weekend. So we're talking Saturday and Sunday, the 5th and 6th. So those are the 2 days leading up to Labor Day. It seems like we'll still be stuck with these temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. Even beyond that, the temperatures still seem to trend a little bit above average. We may see some slight relief, but maybe still hanging out in the low 90s. This many days out, I mean, at this point, we're talking about something a week and a half away. So I can't really say with any confidence on that. But it does seem like the first week, if not the first couple weeks of September, will probably be warmer than normal, at least the first few days here, as we do have that heat wave that kicks in for this entire next week. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, it looks beautiful out there this evening. Great weather for Friday night football. Tomorrow, warm but not unseasonably so, upper 80s, maybe 90, but humidity nice and low, so no heat index to worry about. Sunday, it gets hotter. Heat index still not a major concern there, but then it really turns hot and a little more humid too as we get into the middle and end of next week. From Tuesday all the way into next weekend, it's possible we'll be looking at temperatures peaking in the upper 90s in some locations across the tri-state, and even after the sun goes down, you don't see a whole lot of relief, as even in the coolest part of the night, some of us may only make it into the mid 70s. So be prepared to deal with an extended stretch of hot temperatures as we get into next week. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will have another look at your forecast on 14 News Tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10, and he'll do another streaming show here tonight at 9. Thanks so much for watching the 14 First Alert Weather Show here at 2:30. Have a great rest of your day and a fabulous weekend.